God created the human just like his image. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're trying something different while I still work on animation and animatics and a background. We're going to talk about Helluva Boss and mostly theories that I had in my head that maybe would explain why Vivziepop made the Kings of Hell a this certain way. Without further ado, we're going to start. Side note, please do not harass anyone in the comments or anyone that made the Helluva Boss show. This is just a theory that I am making and it's my first theory, so some things can not be perfect and it will sound awful, but please do not harass, do not attack, and respect each other and listen to your own opinion. Make your own opinion about my theory, make your own opinion about the show overall, and please be respectful in your criticism. I will listen to your critiques, I will listen to what you're saying. So without further ado, let's go back to my theory. So my theory that I have made is about the Kings of Hell in Helluva Boss storyline, Helluva Boss Hell type. Because do not forget, this is not her hell, this is the hell of Vivziepop, which she tries to do things differently. And I wanted to speak directly about why she made the design look similar like her people. And this theory for me is pretty interesting because I didn't see no one talk about it unless I'm just such under a rock, then I didn't realize someone else talk about it. But hey, there's a first in everything and I'm going to share it with you. Now you might wonder, why would I want to talk about the Kings of Hell? Why do you want to do that? Well, I realized something in Vivziepop type of hell. This is important to specify. This is Vivziepop type of hell. This is not normal hell that people are used to, with the demons being exactly the representation of Solomon's book. This is important to remember because Solomon's book is not canon demonology. It's not canon, it's an idea we have about the sins, how we represent them, but it's not the canon book. It's not something set in stone. So we can modify at a certain level the design to look a bit different. This is why I do believe the design of Vivziepop or Vivziepop is pretty unique and pretty interesting, because it brings a big question that I have in my head, which is about this theory. So the Book of Solomon is the base for the demonology, but it's not the canon event in Helluva Boss type of hell. So the fact that there's two types of hell, one made by Solomon and the other is Vivziepop, we can understand why Payment doesn't look exactly like what is supposed to be in the Solomon book, because really it wouldn't make sense for the type of story Vivziepop wants to tell. We need to remember something specific before the theory. You might have an idea where I'm getting from the phrase I've said at the beginning of the video, but I'm going to show you a graphic about each member of Hell and which ring they're coming from, and I'm going to show you physically how it goes. So each ring of Hell has their own kings, own civilians, as we can realize. So first we have, I'm going to open them, we have the kings. We have Lucifer, they looks like this. We have Asmodeus, which is the king of lust, mammon. We don't know how wrath looks like, nor envy or sloth, but we know how gluttony looks like so far. So each king has their own population. We have Asmodeus, which is Ozzy, that has the succubi, but I want to come back to Asmodeus later because I have a counter theory with my stuff, just with this guy. because he doesn't look like a civilian. I'll come back to that later. Then we have Gluttony that has the hellhounds from this ring with Vivziepop. We have the hymns that comes from the ring of wrath, which is Satan. But with what we can see, Satan does look like a hymn. We're getting closer to what I want to say. Then we have Sloth that has the Candlehead demon, which I will just call the goats. Those goats are from the Sloth. So I would take a guess, and maybe the Sloth King will Villefagor, something like that, will come looking like a goat. Theory of mine. Then we have the civilians of the Pride Ring, which is only the sinners, where we're going to see them in Has Been Hotel when it comes out. In the Greed Ring, we have Mammon. Mammon looks like a jester, and there's a lot of jester demons in the background. There's even one shark in episode 3. Yeah, episode 3 of season 2. That is a mix of jester and shark demon. And of course, when we speak about sharks, we have the Envy. The Envy is the place where there's the most diversity of the type of demons you can encounter there, and I might have a theory about why it's the case. The only issue we have is the Goetia. See, the Goetia is a type of bird demon, and we know that Ozzy has a bit of control over the Goetia. But the Goetia has the Succubi too, so my question is, which ring do they really control? Because Ozzy has the control over the Goetia, he's like the big boss at the end that people need to be worried about. And then we have the Succubus. And my question is the Succubus really from the Ring of Loss, or like a combination? Is the Succubus really from here, or from here, or a mix of the two, just where, and Solus will be down there? But I wanted to make a visual graphic to show you the resemblance, and this is why I wanted to show Lost for later, because this theory is going to be a bit modified depending of how Ozzy is and which species he created. Now let's go with my biggest piece of theory that I ever made in a long time. So we have realized that each king resembled the population of each ring. Like we have each demon represent one ring of hell. Which brings this question, and which brings this phrase too. God created humans like his image. And now I was thinking, what if the kings of hell wanted to do the same thing but in hell? Just be like a god with their own population, looking like them and taking pride into this. I'm going to just start with why I think it's the case. First of all, we have the hymns. In the pilot, we saw a homeless man that is praising Satan like a godlike being. But remember one thing, the pilot is not necessarily canon, but I just like that detail. I will put it in mind, because just the fact they say bless Satan, just like how humans would say God bless some people, I do believe the hymns see Satan as their gods, as what they are, as what they should be, strong, overpowered. We even see that with Millie's family. They're like, we are strong, we're kicking ass, and we are proud to be strong people, to be the strongest of their kind, but still the lower member of society, which is pretty interesting. Then you continue and you see the Mammon is a jester type demon, and there's jester type demons, and so on and so forth. The people resembles their prince, their king, their sin. They represent their nation, just like how people from different countries represent their place and their country. The most interesting fact is the kings that are immortal, that can only be killed by a holy weapon from heaven, or else they are immortal, they don't die necessarily. And this has been backed up by Vivziepop herself. Then we have the demons, the hymns, the hellhounds, the jester demons, but the succubi, those demons can die with a normal weapon. They can get shot in the head and they will die. They can be killed, they can bleed, they can die of old age, just like the humans on earth that would die of old age. Which brings my point even closer, that the demons see those kings as God being, and they know they're gods in some kind of way, because they are extremely powerful, they have power that they don't have, and they see themselves as highly, which explains why there's a hierarchy in hell. This is interesting to see, because this is exactly how God behaves and how we behave in front of God. There's people hating God. I would point Luna hating Beelzebub because she's a goddess and Luna doesn't like them. And we have other people that would do anything for them, or they're even in relationship with a god, which is really interesting. And I'm really excited to see where it would go. Can a demon be with a god? That is interesting, and only later we will understand what's going on. Now we're going to point the places where it doesn't fit, and I'm going to explain why it can fit, even if the species doesn't work with my theory. We're going to start with the easiest one, which is the Leviathan itself. So the Leviathan is a character of a sea snake type monster, and we have their civilians being a huge variety of different sea type animals. And before we go on, I need to define what envy is in its definition, and I'm going to take the more Christian version because I think it explains a lot about envy. What is envy? Its biblical definition of envy as the following: sin of jealousy over the blessing and achievements of others, especially the spiritual enjoyment and advancement of the kingdom of Christ freely and graciously bestowed upon the people of God. As I can understand, and here's my definition from this: jealousy is being jealous of someone's achievement and joy over the people. So jealousy is mad at the fact that they cannot do some stuff that another person did. Here's an example. We have a person that cannot walk, okay? And they're watching other people walk on both of their legs, and they're jealous because they are not blessed with the capacity of walking. They wish to walk, so they are a bit jealous of people walking because they can. That's an example. So I do believe the Leviathan, the reason why there's such a huge variety of demons just from the Leviathan is because the Leviathan is jealous maybe of Lucifer or even of God itself to have created so many things and she didn't do anything. So the Leviathan can be jealous of Lucifer or God. I'll come back later about Lucifer. And she wanted to prove herself that she can create a lot of variety of demons from where she was from in the sea. So she created sharks, she created some jellyfish. She created some fish demon, some snake demon maybe. The sea is so complex, so she saw all the creation that God had made in the sea while she was up there, but it's hard to explain, we don't know yet. But she can be jealous of all the amazing creation God made by itself. So she decided, well, why can't I do that too? I can prove that I am better than him by creating my own seafloor. And by creating her own seafloor, she created her own type of demon, and she makes the ecosystem of the Ring of Envy. This is what I can take with this definition, that being so jealous of the glory that God has with creating so many things, or even Lucifer having so many people from the earth, she wanted to keep something for her and make her seafloor really varied with many types of demons that might not look like her, but maybe there's a reason why there's no sea demon like her. She wants to be maybe the only unique sea monster, being a gigantic snake, if she's really that, from the place, which would be pretty interesting to realize she wants to be like the god itself and everything. Now I talk about the Leviathan. We're going to go with the spicy one, which is Ozzy and Lucifer. It's really important, those two. I'm going to interconnect them because maybe we will be able to understand why the succubi doesn't look like Ozzy, and maybe they're not really from the Ring of Lust, which would be weird, but I have my explanation, so let's continue. Ozzy and Lucifer are some of the hardest people to make this theory work on. Lucifer, I can make it work though. Lucifer is taking pride to take the creation of God into his ring. So I do believe that Lucifer took the time to just keep the sinners to himself. But what about Ozzy? Did Ozzy really created in his image the succubi, or was it a collaboration? It could be, and I'll explain to you why. I do not have concrete proof for that part, so this is only speculation to see how this hell might work. I might have something in the future that will destroy my arguments, and it's fine. It's a theory. It's meant to be good or destructive. A theory is not always something that is working, which might fail and it will make sense. So what about this theory? This theory in particular with Ozzy and Lucifer, because I do believe that Ozzy has the control over the Goetia art family. So I do believe that Ozzy actually created the Arch Goetia, or somewhat has the control over them because of his bird type theme that resembles the Arch Goetia, and the fact that he knows a lot about Stolas, and that Ozzy has the control over this type of population, keeps them in line, and controls a bit what they are. Maybe not Painman, because Painman is like the immediate right arm of Lucifer from the Goetia definition of Painman. But it can be wrong, I can be wrong, and it's not Salomon Hell, it's Vivziepop Hell. So here's what I think. I think maybe there has been a deal with Lucifer and Ozzy to find a solution to bring more people in hell And Lucifer has suggested a human-looking like creature that would be the succubus. So maybe the succubus, yes, come from the ring of lust, but they were made by Lucifer or has been helped by Ozzy itself, and the combination of how Lucifer knows how the humans work, because one of the favorite of God and and if they would have made together the succubi, which would explain why they look so human, might be from the ring of pride, because after all, Veroska takes herself really highly of herself. But this is just one succubus, might not be all of them. So this is where my theory makes a bug. Why those two rings are so confusing? Does the heart Goetia were made by Ozzy, or falling from heaven and creating children? And I tried to understand why they want to make a bigger family of Goetia family. And why does Stella cannot have a book, but Stolas has a book? And why does Stolas need a children, but not Stella? And there's a lot of confusion from that point. The only way we can find peace is only when we'll learn more in the show. For now, all I can say is there might have been a combination of Ozzy and Lucifer together to make more sinners fall in hell with the succubi by working together. But even there, my theory doesn't work here, because why would Ozzy do that if it doesn't bring him sinners and only brings Lucifer sinners? This is a really good question. But weirdly enough, all the rest of the kings of hell, it works. Allegedly. After all, the people see them as gods from their powers and wealth and richness, and those gods see the lower as lower, even though we have Ozzy that sleep with a himp, we have Stolas that sleep with a himp, we have Vivziepop sleeping with a hellhound, and so on and so forth. So this is my theory. I do believe that the kings of hell have created their own sinners, their own people, just like how God did. Because why not? They fell in hell, allegedly, and they found themselves in an empty place, and they decided together to be like, yeah, I'm going to make my own civilization. Each one of us are going to make their own civilization, and we'll see what happened by ourselves. So this is my theory. Tell me down below what you think about my theory. Does it make sense? Do I miss details? Did I miss something? Because I'm sure I did. And talk to me, be critical, and let's chat. Let's talk about why it works and why it doesn't work. Let's talk, let's make ideas and have fun. Thank you so much for watching this first theory video. If you suggest me some modification, you can always, because I am a damn loser and I do not know what I'm doing. Yes. And I see you all in a next type of video or in the next animation. Bye bye.